Excuse me, I don't mean to disturb you, but the whole temple is on high alert.
Thank you.
We've arrived! It's been a long old road to travel, but we've finally hit a new season. And now begins the arduous task, the glory of this beloved series, when we can delve into the contextually rich material that has fueled future plot points and narrative threads, whilst exploring new worlds, characters and concepts that feel like a winter's breeze or a hot muggy day, depending on where you're at. I cannot wait to review some of the best and brightest moments that come from Season 2 with a lot of callbacks, call forwards, and an extensive range of heroes, all with their own tribulations to overcome.
Good times!
This week starts off with a delightful tale about restraint and the meaning of caution, all wrapped up in an escapade that brings us home with a new threat rising against the Jedi, and informs us of how the Inquisitors would have potentially come to be.
Fuck.
We kick off on a familiar location that bears a battle taking place above the skies and on the ground, with Masters Plo, Annie and Obi attempting to thwart a Seppi invasion with their numbers steadily depleting.
Well, that's fucking not good.
Realising this isn't working though, they choose to retreat but need to collect Ahsoka, who's unaware that she's about to be swarmed, but allows her overconfidence to consume her and ignores Anakin's instructions to fall back. This leads them to parking their ships in front of her to convince her to leave, and as they do, they witness the droids destroy her munitions, with Anakin looking highly annoyed. Back at the Jedi Temple, Ahsoka is reprimanded by the Council and reassigned to guard duty in the library for her actions, where Anakin escorts her and she's informed of the responsibilities that are expected from her by Master Jocasta Nu. Cut to the lower levels of Coruscant, where we're graced by the debuting Cad Bane. Chronologically speaking at least, and he's approached by Darth Sidious for a mission to acquire a holocron from the Jedi Temple that will aid in his efforts against them. Bane accepts this and teams with another bounty hunter, Cato Parasiti, whose unique skill set involves being a changeling that allows her to morph into a dead Jedi Bane acquired named Ord Innocence.
That's a little fucked up, no?
Oh, it's super fucked up.
Along with his trusty droid, Todo 360, Bane sets off and the infiltration begins. Cato, as Innocence at this point, is caught by Ahsoka in the library, where she snaps in frustration at the Padawan who keeps asking questions, which raises suspicion in Jocasta, and she encounters her later on. Bane and Todo begin their descent into the walls of the temple and are quickly pursued by Obi-Wan and Anakin. They encounter a few complications but manage to make it to the Holocron vault, where Bane hacks into the panel and he sends Todo off as a distraction. Annie and Obi continue to chase Todo whilst Bane breaks into the vault and achieves his mission, and as this happens, Todo discovers a group of masters waiting for results and a bomb goes off on his back that Bane placed inside him earlier as a distraction, allowing for him to escape disguised as a Jedi.
Damn!
We end the episode with them realising what Bane nabbed, and Cato is caught, having changed forms into Jocasta earlier and engaged Ahsoka in a losing effort, where she decides to give him up and tells them that he's going for Master Boro Rapal next, who's the keeper of the Kyber crystal that can unlock the information inside the holocron. So of everything that you could take from this, there are three key things in my mind, beginning with the Emperor implementing his plans to create an army of Force wielders melded in his image, which is picked up again in Rebels, but in a way is actualized with the Inquisitor program headed up by Vader shortly after the Clone Wars. Two examples of young ones becoming part of this are Reva from the Kenobi series, and Trilla Siduri from Fallen Order, both survivors of Order 66 that gave into their hatred with Vader or whoever found them, bringing them to the Inquisitor program, having sensed this inside them, and from that point on became something more sinister. It's interesting though that the rule is two within the Sith, but Palps is willing to bring in a group of Force sensitives to execute his will, that could, if they became strong enough and formed up, revolt against him. I mean, Luke and Vader were enough to conquer him in the end, so what's to stop these fuckers? But I believe the excuse made against this theory is that Vader was hampering their training, so they essentially unraveled themselves due to the sheer incompetence and desperation from Palps, who needed to ensure the Jedi were wiped out. Though, a thought needs to be offered to the potential the Inquisitors could have carried had his efforts succeeded now. Imagine a group of fully trained and hungry assassins that harboured the same seeds of rage that Maul had in his early years before managing to embrace it and harness it.
Be afraid.
Be very afraid.
Anyway, the other highlight to this premiere is the arrival of the beloved, belligerent, badass bounty hunter, Cad Bane.
I salute you, sir.
A gentleman guided by his own self-interests who has no time for your bullshit and is proven throughout the show to be intelligent, calculating, and undeterred when positioned to prove his abilities against some of the galaxy's best and deadliest. Bane has a storied history in Star Wars that began here and currently stops in the Book of Boba Fett, but all the in-between with him is some of the most compelling character elements you wouldn't expect to see in a bounty hunter like him. He's often presented as cold, callous, and apathetic to most around him, seen in his appearances across the franchise to be taking down children, blasting his way out of situations with no remorse, and going head to head against Force sensitives and living to tell the tale. And if you're just experiencing Bane for the first time, you'll come to see that whenever he's involved, it means something big is about to go down.
He's got a point.
Full transparency though, this wasn't meant to be Bane's debut to the show. That adventure comes in 26 episodes time, with this one following directly on from it in release order. But the way they're both presented worked to introduce this badass either way. It's surprising though, looking back, that this bastard's become such a revered character within the Star Wars community, yet has only appeared on screen collectively 14 times between the Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and Book of Boba Fett.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
I loved his involvement here, as it gives you an idea of how long he's been doing this for, to know how many people to bring in for this job, and what he's learned about the current state of the galaxy to not even be fazed by the fact that he's been asked to infiltrate a Jedi temple. Truly, Bane is one of Filoni & Co.'s best creations for Star Wars, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of him, but following the Book of Boba Fett, they need to do some justice to this guy. Now my last major mention goes to the young one with an attitude, Ahsoka Tano. I said a few weeks back that Ahsoka's breakthrough moment was leading the assault over Ryloth after learning the cost of war, but here was the beginning of another breakthrough we'll see by the end of the season as an addition to her character's growth, and that's learning restraint and caution, a lesson she comes back to occasionally over the season, but mainly due to her desire to do good, but it's something she seems to have perfected by the time of Rebels. To see her currently adopt a lot of Anakin's negative traits like his overzealous nature and antagonistic attitude is frustrating, knowing the woman that she'll go on to become, but it's necessary to have such a cathartic feeling by then. But moments where she realises she's not free from a good telling off are necessary for that development. From lessons like these as well, we see that she begins to approach various situations more rationally, with only a few slip-ups down the road, but when they do occur, it's because things are out of her control. As for the episode in general, the pacing was fierce for the first 5 minutes with a thrilling battle sequence, then, as it is for Ahsoka, things get reined in for the remainder of it, with a gentle Mission Impossible style situation playing out from the perspective of an outsider thrust into a perilous situation that he simply smirks at. This is obviously the start of a new arc, but honestly it works on its own as well. The voice work felt improved from season 1-2, especially with Corey Burton's gritty tone applied to Cad Bane that adds a degree of intensity to his character.
I'll take on any job for the right price.
The animation has stepped up dramatically from the first season too, with the saturation being cranked up to 11. There's a richer understanding to the use of lighting for this and how it can be applied effectively, and the plot feels more crucial now to understand, knowing where things head next for the Children of the Force. That's going to do it for me though this week, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more content down the road, and until next time, take care and may the Force be with you.